Hello everyone, welcome back to the Pro MMA Betting Podcast. Before we start cracking on with UFC 239, just a quick recap on the weekend just gone. So, really good weekend. We had a clean sweep on pre-bets. We had a combination of bets on Cage Warriors and the UFC. As I said, clean sweep, all the bets came in. Some of them were really easy money, which I love cashing and not having to sweat, such as Alonso, Manyfield and Drew Dober. Both won really quickly. It doesn't happen all the time, but to get two in one night, really nice. Even Mads Bennell over in Cage Warriors, second round submission fight that was scheduled for 5 rounds, so it was nice to as a whole not have to sweat too much. Ricardo Ramos was maybe a little bit of a sweat, but otherwise nice clean sweep, sweat free generally. Live betting, didn't actually offer the live betting service on Saturday night. It's the first time this year that I haven't offered it. I did throw out one live bet which didn't cash. It was a 1 unit play, so we lost 1 unit there, but there was boxing Friday night and we won 1.75 units on live bet Friday night, so we were still up on live betting about 0.75 units, and then we had the clean sweep on the pre-bet, so it was about a 5 unit weekend overall, which I'm really happy with. Takes us to 16-4 on UFCs in 2019. We're at the halfway stage now. Takes members who are betting £100 or 100 units per dollars up to around £8,000 or $8,000. In fact, that is incorrect. £8,800 or $8,800 profit if you are risking £100 or $100 per unit. I said my target was 20k, so we're slightly under that. We need to be at 10k at this stage, but we're not doing bad, so there's definitely a chance for us to pull that back and get ourselves to 20. But I'm not going to force any bets. I'm not going to make any larger bets than I otherwise would have to try and chase that target. If we hit 16 or 17 grand, I'll take that and I'll be happy with that. So just a reminder, guys, we offer a pre-betting service and a live betting service. ProMMABetting.com is the website where you can subscribe to either or both. Both are winning avenues. You're going to earn an income from either or. Most guys that subscribe, get my words out, opt for both services for the pre-betting and live betting. Not everyone can live bet. I don't know what your circumstances are. I don't know what time zone you live in. Some countries it's tougher for live betting, so not everyone does. Some people just do the pre-bets, but we've got a really busy Discord private chat now. Lots of banter between members. Everyone tends to get on in the chat. It kind of makes the night pretty fun as we're bantering back and forth, especially when we win and the bets come in and everyone cashes. Real good feel good factor in the chat. So I've got a great service running. I post my bet slips on Twitter as well, so you can see that I am backing up my claim to be the world's highest stakes MMA tipster. So bet slips are put in there, and it also shows you guys that I am betting what I am recommending to you. I think a lot of touts just recommend bets and are actually betting it themselves. Who knows? But I'm showing you that I am betting it and I'm betting it big. So I like to prove that. All of our bets are third-party tracked. The live betting ones, the pre-bets, even the MMA bets we can't track on Bet MMA Tips. We use betting.gs where I can put my boxing bets down, or if we combine a boxing fight with a UFC fight, so a parlay or double, I can record it on betting.gs. So all of our bets are third party tracked. There's direct links to all the sites below this video, and if you go onto my website ProMMABetting.com, you can see all the links on there. So we're extremely transparent. I don't do bullshit. I don't try and give people false hope or claim to be something I'm not. As I've said many times on this video, you're never going to have a massive night of units risked. I'm never going to be one of these touts that recommends that you risk 30, 40, 50 units a night. It's not my ball game. If you have a bad night, it's disastrous. Not going to happen on my watch. Your worst case scenario with me, I think my worst losing night this year is 4 or 5 units, and I think that's just once. It's going to happen occasionally. We're in the betting game, shit happens. But generally, if you lose, it's going to be a small loss. And as I said, we're 16-4 on UFC events in 2019, so we win a lot more than we lose. And I aim to continue that trend for the rest of this betting year, so that we get as close to that 20k target as possible. Right, let's move on to UFC 239. And with all that said, this is officially the worst UFC card of the year for betting, in my opinion. Don't like it at all for betting, and I will not force a bet if I don't see one there just to have action. No, not going to do that. I'd rather pass on a card than be forcing a bet just to put one out there. Live betting will still be offered, so there's still going to be ample opportunity for members to make profit this weekend. And I'm not definitely saying I'm not going to have a bet, but I'm waiting. There's one fight I'm waiting on to see if the odds change. If they do, then I'm going to be tempted. At the moment, I'm kind of sitting on the sidelines waiting to see what happens. So let's move into UFC 239 and break down the card. So first fight, women's bantamweight division, Julia Avila taking on Pani Kianzad. Julia Avila is a aggressive fighter. For a lady, she's pretty aggressive. She's got some pop in her shot. She's quite raw with her stand-up, but you definitely know about it when she hits you, which does set her apart from a lot of women's MMA fighters, because there's not many that tend to have power, but she can definitely crack. Go and watch her last two fights. They're both available. You can see that power in both of them. You can also see it on display in the Nico Montano fight, and it goes to a decision. It's over 5 rounds, but you can see Nico isn't particularly keen on absorbing those power shots. She does kind of fight in spurts though, so she'll let a big flurry go, and she'll sit back. She maybe won't do anything for a minute or so. So, you know, pros and cons to that style, but it's in women's MMA, it's definitely a pro, because there's not many that can do it and dish out that kind of damage. Ground game we haven't seen so much of. She does have one loss on her record, but it was just a freak injury. I think she dislocated her finger literally like 30 seconds into round 1 of her fight. So it's not a loss. She's basically unbeaten. But yeah, aggressive puncher. She's got a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so she should be more than capable on the mat. Pani she's been in the UFC already. We saw her most recently on The Ultimate Fighter. Kind of loses when she steps up. I mean, if you go back to her Invicta run, she lost 3 fights in a row. Tonya Evinger, Raquel Canuto, Sarah Kaufman. Got to the Ultimate Fighter final. I mean, to be fair, Macy Kason's an absolute beast. She got to the second round, but she got dropped and then ultimately submitted. She's got decent boxing. Nothing wrong with her hands at all. She's quite tidy with her hands, but she doesn't really have any power. I don't think she's. I mean, you look at her last, 8, 9, 10 fights. They're all pretty much decisions, unless it's her being finished. She doesn't really have any pop in her hands. So I just feel it's going to be tough for her to win a decision here, because Avila's going to be unloading bombs. The power shots are going to be more eye-catching to the judges. She may be, across 3 rounds, maybe there will be a bit more volume from her. But like I said, the punches aren't going to catch the eye of the judges like Avila's are, and Avila's far more likely to hurt her than she is Avila. So I just feel she's short notice as well, really short notice, like a week's notice I think this is. She was meant to be taking on Melissa Gatto, who was going to be one leg of a double that I was very confident in, because Julia Avila would have destroyed Melissa Gatto. She's got, on paper, a tougher fight here, I feel, because Pani does have decent stand-up. Her hands are decent, but like I said, I just think the golfing power and aggressiveness is going to go against her here. So I'm going to go with Avila, probably to win a decision, but she'd definitely make a statement if she can stop Pani here. But I will go Avila decision. I was considering having a bet on her, but the line's just a bit higher. She's like minus, come down actually slightly on as I'm doing this, minus 220 at the moment. But I mean, I was really hoping she was going to be around minus 150. So I don't really think that line's going to change in much. I think that's quite where it's basically going to end up. So we'll see. But at the moment, probably not a bet. The only thing I don't like about the video, as I said, it's just she fights in spurts. So that can go against you. But when she does unleash, there's the power's there, and she's definitely going to make a statement with the judges. So I'll go with Avila to win a decision. Next, men's welterweight division. Really excited to have Ismail Nurdiev back. He's taking on Chance Rencontre. Nurdiev, we saw his UFC debut against Pérez. Now you go back 18 months, it might be nearly 2 years now, and he gets wrestled to a decision lost in ACB. Gave me grave concerns coming in against Pérez, but the chap's only 22, and this is the thing with younger fighters, they make such big improvements in a short space of time. You've got to be very, very careful fading them if you think you're going to get the same fighter that you did from 6 months ago, let alone 18 months ago. And yeah, his takedown defence against Pérez was on point. He did get taken down a couple of times, but he reversed Pérez. It's big for the weight, dangerous stand-up. I mean, he did gas in that fight, but he did take it on short notice, and it was a really high-paced fight with Pérez going for them takedowns, and Pérez has got some heavy hands as well. So really, really impressive debut. I couldn't really be more impressed with a guy taking out a veteran like Pérez, and I think he won 30-27 across the board. So real impressive. He's been given a fight here to get a win. I don't want to disrespect Chance completely. He's a tough guy. I don't think he's ever been stopped. So Nurdiev's going to have to go some to get him out of there. He's a decent fighter. He lost to Bilal Muhammad. Bilal just pretty much cruised to victory, outstruck him on the feet, and pretty much outstruck him on the feet. Hit some takedowns, but Chance, if memory serves me right, showed a decent get-up game, and he's coming off a win over Cole Stewart in the first round. So odds are really high on Nurdiev here. He's about -500. Yeah, he's sitting around there. I think it's a bit high, but he did impress me against Pérez. I think he is going to have too much for Chance here. I see this being a stand-up fight. I think it's probably going to go to a decision. As I said, Chance hasn't been stopped. And Ismail, he needs to watch the cardio. Like I said, he did gas against Pérez, but it was a very high-paced fight. I don't think this is going to be the same kind of... This isn't going to be fought at the same kind of pace, so he should be okay. But yeah, he needs to not go out there silly trying to blast Chance away in the first round. He's a durable guy. Be sensible, take your time, and I think he'll win a comfortable decision. I think there's a good future for Ismail, so I'll go with Ismail to win a decision here. Last fight on the preliminary card, on UFC Fight Pass that is, we've got Edmund Shabazian taking on Jack Marshman. Really high line on Edmund here. I definitely don't recommend anyone bets him at -600. Surprised it's that high, but yeah, I have to favour him here. Jack Marshman, I mean, I don't think he's UFC caliber Jack. He had that good performance against Thiago Alves, but besides that, he's not looked great. And I mean, it was a losing effort as well. He should have lost to John Phillips. I live betted Marshman decision, I think, after round 1 or round 2. I got really good odds on it, plus 350 or something, and at the end of the fight I'd already deducted the money, and he actually got the nod. Shouldn't have got that decision. Before that he lost to Carl Robertson. Before that, Carlos Jr. Before that he got a decision over Ryan James that there's an argument he lost that fight. He definitely lost round 3, and round 2 was a lot more competitive than round 1, sorry. So the guy could easily be coming off 5 straight losses here. I mean, he should be at welterweight. I don't think it's laziness. He just seems to have a bit of a weird body type, and I just think he just struggles to get down to welterweight. And he's caught between a rock and a hard place because he doesn't belong at middleweight. But Edmund Shabazian is a middleweight, big guy. He's looked solid in the UFC so far. In the Contender Series, quick win, coming off a quick win over Charles Bird, and sandwiching between that a split decision win over Darren Stewart. I don't think that's a split decision. He won the first 2 rounds. Utilise a good wrestling game. Darren Stewart's might not be the best defensive wrestler in the world, but he's not easy to take down. He's a very strong guy. So it showed me that Edmund's physically strong for the weight, and some of the shots he hit were really nice. Really turned a nice angle on his doubles. And showed that he's got another layer to kind of all these quick KO wins that he can wrestle too. He did gas badly, but it was a high-paced fight, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But I just think against Marshman, he'd be comfortable on the feet, and he can mix in the wrestling as well if he needs to. So I see him probably cruising to a decision win here, but minus 600. I can't get behind that. That does seem a bit high, but yeah, I think the Marshman's probably his last fight in the UFC here. So I'll go with Shabazian for a comfortable win. Right, first fight on the ESPN card. We've got Alejandro Pérez taking on Yudong Song. Pérez, he's an underrated guy. He's really slippery. He's hard to look good against. He's the king of winning tight decisions. I bet against him in his last fight when he took on Cody Stamann. Cody won that fight. Kind of went how I thought it would go. Pérez is a counter fighter. Doesn't really do enough leading. You've got to be really accurate, especially when you're low volume. If you're a counter striker. That was ultimately his undoing there. He did show really good defensive wrestling though. Really tough to take down and to keep down. He's taken on Yudong Song here, who has been pretty impressive so far. I mean, there's rumours about his age. Is he 21 or is he not? So I'm not going to go into that. I've got no idea. But he's at Team Alpha Male now. He's been there a while. I bet him in his last fight. I think I used him in a double against Vince Morales. And, Vince gave a good account of himself, especially in round 3. Yudong started to slow down a little bit in that fight. But before that, he was coming off 2 really emphatic, impressive performances. So I do like Yudong here. I think Yudong's going to get the win. The line is a little bit high though. He's up to minus 240 now. Like I said, Pérez is he's the king of winning decisions. He's tough to look good against. It's tough to get a real clean victory over him where the person comes away looking really impressive. I think Cody Stamann dropped round... Did he drop round 3? I can't remember now against him. But yeah, it's just hard to win a clean decision against him. And I mean, some of the decisions he's got on his record are disputed, like the Sukumtov one, the Eddie Weiland one, but he's still winning these decisions. So it shows that, he's good at kind of fooling the judges. But he does have this counter-attacking style where it does rely on you being accurate. I think the way to trouble Yudong Song is potentially either with wrestling or from a high pace that's going to slow him down. And I just don't think Pérez's style fits that mould. So I am going to go Yudong here, probably to win a decision. But I do think it will be a competitive fight. I definitely don't think anyone's running away with it. But I'll go with Yudong to keep his run going. And to win a decision here against Pérez, but minus 240, no, I don't agree with that. I think the line should definitely be a bit closer. I think that's getting a little bit disrespectful towards Pérez. So, and Yudong, I don't think can mix his wrestling in here. I think this is going to be a stand-up fight. And as I say, Pérez is difficult to look good against. So, the judges could see different things here, but I will go with Yudong to win the decision. Next, women's strawweight division. We've got Claudia Gadelha taking on Randa Markos. Is she shot? Isn't she shot? What is going on with Claudia Gadelha? These are the question marks that are going into this fight for me. I think there's a combination of things with Claudia. She's definitely not as dominant as she once was. Now, I think that partly USADA might be an issue. She used to train at Nova in Yale. Notorious dopers. So I think that could explain part of a regression or drop in physical performance. I definitely think that's a factor. it's hard to explain otherwise, really, because she's only had 20 fights. She's a woman, obviously, so it's not like she's taken a lot of damage. It's kind of hard to explain outside of USADA why she's, kind of what is going on with her. She's always had cardio issues, always, and I just think physiologically, it's kind of how she is. There's nothing she can do to fix it. I think she can be. I'm sure she's fit as a fiddle, but I just don't think there's anything she can do to stop this cardio issue, and that's kind of reared its head in her last couple of fights as well, where the fighters have kind of come on stronger as the fight's gone on. They haven't weakened from kind of her initial onslaught, so I think that's gone against her as well. And I say she's not taken any damage. She did take quite a bit of damage against Jessica Andrade, but still, from one fight for that to cause regression, it seems unlikely. But yeah, there's definitely something amiss here. And she did go into the Carla Esparza fight with a knee injury. There was a massive shift in the line on the day of the fight, and it turned out afterwards it was because this knee injury had leaked, that she had surgery for straight after. So that could partly explain the performance there. She said her knee blew out during, like, she went into the Carla fight with the knee injury, but she said her knee actually blew out during round 1 as well. So, I mean, I rewatched the Nina Ansaroff fight yesterday, and it's actually a better performance than I remembered. Nina is tough to take down. We saw that against Tatiana Suarez, who she took round 3 off. And her cardio wasn't so bad. She was coming forward in round 3. She was just outgunned on the feet. And, I mean, she had slowed a little bit, which is why she couldn't get the takedown in round 3, whereas she could in round 1 and 2. But she wasn't kind of, really dying and hands on her hips. So, what I'm trying to get at is from a betting perspective, she's just a hard lady to trust. I just don't know where she's at. She's done her camp at Mark Henry's gym, which is the first time she's been there. She used to train at, I think it's Yultree MMA, the MMA team that's near, or it's in Albuquerque, so near Jackson Wink. Then she's been at the PI, UFC PI, for her last couple of camps, and then this time she's gone over to New Jersey, done her camp out there for 8 weeks. So I'm quite interested to hear some interviews from Claudia, just to see kind of where she's at. But she's only 30, so I mean, decorated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu woman. She's got decent boxing, heavy hands. Well, it seems to have a decent amount of pop in them anyway. But kind of excels with her takedowns. Really good blast double, and she's got very good body lock takedowns. I went back and looked at Randa's takedown defense. I looked at all the fights, because there's a lot of fights of hers where no one's tried to take her down. So I went back and literally looked at every fight where people have tried to take her down, and her takedown defense is a lot worse than I remembered from memory. I went all the way back to... So I started with her fight against Jessica Penne. I mean, it is 5 years ago, but I don't think her takedown defense has improved in that time. Penne got 4 takedowns on her. Aslin Daly got a couple of takedowns on her. Justin Jones Liebarger got a takedown on her. Carla got a number on her. Juliana Lima took her down. Kind of everyone that's tried has taken her down, basically. A lot of them are body lock takedowns, where Claudia is very strong. It just lacks takedown defense. Her offensive wrestling's decent, but I definitely think that while Claudia's fresh, I think Claudia has the advantage I think Claudia can take her down at will. Can she hold Randa down? Claudia's top control isn't the greatest. It's not like she takes you down and you're down for the rest of the round, but when she goes for takedowns, she doesn't really miss them. I mean, her takedown ratio would be really, really high if it wasn't for the Jessica Andrade and Nina Ansaroff fights. If she wants to take you down, she generally does. She's very strong in the body lock, and I know I've brought up USADA, but she's still physically very strong for a 115 lady. So on the feet, I've not got a great read on how this plays on the feet. Gadelha can counter quite well. She can have good hands, but obviously if she does slow, that starts to drop off, and I think Randa could start to have more success on the feet. But it's just, I don't know if Randa can keep this on the feet. I mean, even in round 3, when Carla is likely to slow down. Can she stop the takedown? Claudia still took down Carla Esparza in round 3. She couldn't get Nina down. But I just don't think Randa's takedown defence is solid enough. But it's just hard for me to bet Claudia as well, just because she's probably going to have a dominant round 1. And then it's just going to be like, oh, we really need to win round 2. And she's going to start slowing. And then is round 2 going to be up in the air? Or if it's a clear round 2, then you're safe unless Randa gets a finish, which it seems pretty unlikely. So it's just a tough one. I mean, Claudia definitely opened too wide. She opened up at around minus 365. Yeah, it's way too high for someone with trust issues. She's currently sitting at minus 225, which is probably more accurate, but I still feel reluctant to pull the trigger on her, just because I bet her against Carla Esparza, and I remember it was a horrible sweat. And then she's had to fight with, in hindsight, the Nina fight wasn't as bad, so I thought Nina's wrestling defence is really good. She was always going to win on the feet. She's got really good stand-up. Randa does just seem stylistically a solid fight for Claudia, so I'm going to go with Claudia to win a decision here. But yeah, even at minus 225, I just don't know if I could bet Claudia. She's just a tough lady to be confident in, even though I think stylistically this fight favours her. Randa is gritty. She'll keep coming for 3 rounds or however long the fight lasts. She's got lots of heart. And she's scrambly on the mat. And she can wrestle herself. I think she'll struggle to take Claudia down while she's fresh, but imagine in round 2, which you need for Claudia to go 2 up, she gets taken down and kind of just gets a bit sweaty. So I'll go Claudia to win, but I can see why the line is coming a lot. There's a lot of apprehension for me with regards to Claudia and where she's at. I hope she goes out there and puts on a really dominant display, but because I don't want her to have regressed, because she's an interesting fighter in the division. I don't think she's ever going to be champ just because of her cardio issues, but she's still a nightmare fight for a lot of people as long as she can fight hard for 2 rounds. So it's going to be interesting to see where she's at. So I'll go with Claudia, but it's not an overly confident pick. I'm just unsure of where she's at. Next, the men's Bantamweight division. We've got Marlon Vera taking on the very late notice replacement Nohelin Hernandez. Marlon's minus 350 favourite. The line's open today, I believe. I can't find any tape on Nohelin Hernandez from within the last 18 months, so it's a very hard fight to call. I did watch one fight. I think that was the one 18 months ago where he lost the decision. He got dropped like 3 times in the first round. He recovered. He even dropped the guy at the end of the first round with a flying knee, and ultimately lost the decision. He actually lasted the distance. He kind of gave a competitive fight for the last couple of rounds, but he lost the decision. I can't bet on someone or against someone when there's no tape in 18 months. He's only 25. I can see he's been over at Tiger Muay Thai. He trains at, I think he's at AKA as well, his full-time gym. So, the kid could have made a lot of improvements over the last 18 months. He's won 4 fights since then. I think 2 were split decisions though. He's got another couple of splits on his record as well. So, he tends to get dragged into close fights looking at his record. I'm going to go with Vera. I'm conscious as well that this is the 6th fight now, and I've picked a favourite for every fight, which is probably not going to happen. But like I said, I just found this card incredibly hard for betting, so I'll go Vera. But as I say, no tape in 18 months, so it automatically isn't a bet. I'd advise anyone betting Marlon Vera blind at minus 350 to not do so. But Vera has shown improvements in his game. He's a decent fighter at the lower end of the division. He may well get up to that mid-level range. Kind of looks like he's heading that way, but he's got some deficiencies like his takedown defence, etc. But from what I've seen on Nohelin, he's just a straight boxer. He's Got an 0-3 pro boxing record as well, so he's going to stand with Marlon, I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, I'll pick Marlon here, but as I say, don't bet it. There is tape available from within the last 18 months. Someone please let me know, and I'll take another look. Next, it's the men's lightweight division. We've got Arnold Allen taking on Gilbert Melendez. Arnold Allen's line is minus 365. I did see him up at minus 400 at one point. I can't touch Arnold Allen at that price. Do I think he wins? Probably yes, but I definitely think the line's too wide. Now look, he's a young guy. He's at TriStar. He should be making improvements camp to camp. He's only 25. He's not fought that regularly in the UFC. This is potentially the first time he's well, I think it is. He's only fought like 3 months ago, so this is a really quick turnaround since he's been in the UFC for him. He looked solid against Jordan Ronaldo, just beat him up on the feet. Jordan just couldn't really set up his takedowns, barely attempted any takedowns. But a year ago he was easily wrestled by Mads Burnell. He was even struck on the feet by Mads, and Mads just took him down at will. Which is the concern here, because Gilbert Melendez does have a wrestling background and he's also a solid striker. But the problem with Gilbert is his career's coming to an end. He's 37 years of age. We've not seen him in action for, it's basically 2 years, almost 2 years since he last fought. He's coming off 4 losses in a row, but I mean, to be fair, they were to Anthony Pettis, Eddie Alvarez, in a fight that is very hotly disputed. There's a serious case for Melendez winning that could be made. And then Barboza and Stevens, who both chopped his leg up and compromised him, especially Stevens. Melendez couldn't even walk after round 1. I don't know how he made it to a decision. And so there's a lot going against him here. You know, he's getting up there for retirement. He's been out 2 years. He's coming off 4 losses. How's he going to approach his fight? He's got decent boxing, Gilbert Melendez. You know, as I said, you can argue that he beat Eddie Alvarez, and you kind of never really got to see how the Stevens and Barboza fights would have played out because his leg got jeopardised pretty early in both. And Arnold Allen a year ago struggled with Mads Burnell. So, but then you look at it as well with Gilbert, and you know, he beat Thiago Sanchez in 2013. So you've got to go back to 2012 when he beat Josh Thompson. So his last win outside of Thiago Sanchez was in 2012, you know, 7 years ago. So it just seems like a tall ask here for Gilbert. But as a bettor, I can't bet Arnold Allen at minus 365, minus 400, when I saw them clear gaps in his skill set still a year ago. He's probably going to get the win here, but I definitely can't bet it. But I just can't. I'm really trying to force myself to pick a dog here, because as I said earlier, I've picked 6 favourites in a row, but you know, the number isn't right here, so we can't do it. But my general rule of thumb in a betting game, as long as the line is right, is you've got to fade the old guy with the layoff who's nearing retirement against a young guy who's at a good camp, who's going to be making improvements. So I'm going to pick Arnold Allen to win here, but I don't recommend playing that line. I wouldn't be shocked if Gilbert wins this fight. He is decent on the feet and he can wrestle, but it's just what version of him are we getting? He had a grappling bout, it's listed on Tapology, that I didn't know about, in May against Pat Healy. He won a decision. I haven't watched it. I assume it's on Fight Pass, but yeah, I haven't gone and watched it. But yeah, there's just a lot stacked against Melendez here, so I'll go with Allen to win a decision. If Allen really wants to make a statement, he needs to get Melendez out of there. I don't think anyone's ever stopped him outside of Anthony Pettis. So if you can get Melendez out of there, it'd be very impressive. But I'd be surprised if he can. So Allen decision might be worth a look as a prop. I saw it was about minus 120 a few days ago. Possibly worth a look, because if you like Allen, the money line's a lot, and I think the odds are a lot higher than minus 120 that if he is going to win, that he beats Melendez by decision. So I'll go with Allen to win a decision. Right, main card time. man, I'm looking at this card and I don't know if I'm going to pick an underdog, which is really bad because it's extremely unlikely that every favourite wins. But it's Thiago Sanchez, Michael Chiesa at welterweight. I was hoping I was going to like Chiesa before I'd done tape to maybe use him in a double as a leg, but I think he wins. But I can't pay like minus 350 on him. Every fight, pretty much, he's automatically goes to his grappling. We know Diego's big deficiency is his chin. He looks like he gets hurt every punch that lands. But I know Chiesa dropped Jorge Masvidal years ago before anyone brings that up, but that's because he couldn't get the fight to the floor that he was forced to stand with Masvidal. Otherwise, he goes straight to his grappling. Now, he's got very good takedowns, Chiesa. Real solid takedowns. Takes down pretty much everyone who he wants to, outside of someone like Kevin Lee. But his top control's not great. I've seen people escape from the bottom. He's got very, very long limbs, Chiesa, and a lot of people. I've seen the leg lock sweep used a lot on him that allows people to get back to their feet. I've seen him get caught in kind of weird scrambles. Anthony Pettis submitted him off his back, and prior to hitting the submission, he nearly hit an armbar on him. I just don't like his long limbs. He seems to just leave him in places that he shouldn't. That allows him to get caught in stuff or swept, or allows someone to get back to their feet. And Diego is a very good grappler. Whatever way you look at it, he's shot. He probably shouldn't be fighting. He's just left Jackson Wink. I mean, what happened there for him to leave on a couple of weeks' notice, especially a few months ago when he's kind of backing them in the Donald Cerrone argument? So what's happened? Have they said to him that, you know, maybe he should hang him up? Because you can see Diego's probably very, you know, one way thinking. If he thinks something, it's going to be hard to change his mind. And fighting is something that I guess trying to tell him to retire is like banging your head on a brick wall. You know, he's had a couple of wins. He's had favourable matchups. I like here as well that he's probably not going to take any head trauma against Chiesa. I like the UFC are kind of matching him accordingly in that sense. And this could get interesting. Is Chiesa going to come out and try and strike with Diego? Maybe he will. It'd probably be the sensible thing to do, because he takes Diego down, you're just playing into Diego's wheelhouse, and we know Diego will not gas. He'll keep coming half of 3 rounds. But he's a solid grappler. And, you know, like I said, Chiesa can get caught in a lot of scrambles, and if he ends up on the bottom, things are going to get dicey for him. So I don't know whether to pick Diego. I mean, I bet Diego in his last fight. It was crazy odds in a fight that I thought suited him very well stylistically. I mean, I can see stylistically how this fight would suit Diego, but I just think Chiesa he's just a better fighter than Mickey Gall, and he's a better grappler, and you know, he's got very good submissions, but Diego's just tough to put away on the mat. So, fuck it, I'm going to pick Sanchez to win here. I can't say I'm going to bet it, because even though Chiesa does go straight to his grappling, he might decide to stand here with it. But then, you know, is Chiesa really capable of knocking someone out? I don't think he's got any knockouts on his record. I can just see this being a scrambly fight, guy. I'm going to pick Diego. I'm a better. I've got to go with the odds. I think the odds are off. I think they're too high on Chiesa. Minus 335. Diego plus 275. I honestly think this is going to be a scramble-heavy grappling fight. Chiesa may well win. He may well win comfortably, but it's another fight where perhaps Diego doesn't have to worry about his consciousness, and he's going to get the type of fight that he thrives in and that he likes. So what the hell, 2019 back-to-back fights. I'm going to pick Diego Sanchez. Don't get me wrong, if the line was a lot closer, I'd probably even be betting Chiesa, but I just think the line's a bit wide, and I can see a path to victory for Diego. So I won't go crazy if anyone's going to bet it. Like I said, I'm probably not betting it myself. Well, I'm not going to bet it myself, because I'm just not really sure what happens if this does end up playing out on the feet. But yeah, why not? Stylistically, it's a decent fight for Thiago, and those lines are wide. So Thiago decision. Next, the men's light heavyweight division, we've got Luke Rockhold. First fight in 18 months, taking on Jan Błachowicz. Really interested to see Luke light heavyweight. A lot of assumptions I'm making here, but I think he's going to be a beast at light heavyweight. I think he's going to look better. That cut was killing him down to middleweight. If you watch his interviews just after the weigh-ins or when he's cutting weight, he always looked terrible. So I think he's going to be a lot fuller at light heavyweight. Might even help his chin. He gets on top of you. The guy's just a beast, and he's a solid striker if he can strike at range. The problem with him has been his chin. He's been, every loss he's got is from a KO. How much is the move up to light heavyweight going to help that? Going to be very interesting to see. He's got a stern test in his debut. Jan Błachowicz is a very solid light heavyweight. He's not a big puncher though. If we look at his UFC record, he hasn't KO'd anyone besides Latifi, and that was from a body kick. He's got a really good body kick, where he switched to southpaw to land it, but he's facing a southpaw here in Luke Rockhold, so the switch isn't going to be available. He's going to have to throw it from the orthodox stance. But yeah, he did hurt Jimmy Manuwa, but Jimmy Manuwa was on his way out at that point. His chin has been cracked by then, and Jimmy still survived and lasted the distance. So he's not a huge puncher, Jan. He's got a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I don't fancy his chance. Luke's deadly. He's possibly got the best top game in the whole of MMA. Just deadly top game. If he gets on top of you, you're in big trouble. So it's going to be interesting to see what Jan's approach is. I think Jan's going to try and strike with Luke. Luke's got very solid striking. He can range strike really well. He's got really good kick from the southpaw stance to the body, and even the head. We saw him rock Michael Bisping with it and ultimately finish him. So I am excited to see Luke here, but he's had 18 months out, so there are some question marks. He's moving up to light heavyweight, but generally these guys that struggle to make the weight, that move up, they look better the weight class up. A light heavyweight division, most recent example is Anthony Smith. Looks like a different fighter at light heavyweight. So I'm kind of expecting the same with Luke. He trains at the combat club now with Henry Hooft. I think he's been there for his last 1 or 2 camps, so he's not at AKA anymore. So yeah, I'm really interested to see him here. The line was sitting at around -1. I saw it as low as -165. It's now -235. Kind of regret not pulling the trigger now when it was -165. Can't bet -235. There are a lot of question marks. How is he going to look at light heavyweight? How's the chin going to hold up against bigger punchers? Albeit Jan perhaps isn't the biggest puncher at light heavyweight. He's had the layoff as well. How much is he invested in MMA? I think he's got like a modeling contract with Ralph Lauren, so he's doing okay out of the cage. How much does he need fighting? I think he's seeing this Jan fight as a route straight through to John Jones, so I think he's aiming to get kind of shot at the title very quickly. So I'm gonna go with Luke here. I think it's probably going to be a decision, but if you can get Jan out of there, definitely be making a statement. Luke just doesn't tend to initiate takedown attempts, and so they seem to just be like reactive when he does hit takedowns off of someone else trying to get him down. And I think, I say Jan won't shoot. If he's getting pieced up on the feet, I guess he might try and go to plan B, but I think his plan would probably be to stand and strike. So I see this playing out mainly on the feet. So I want to see Luke take a few shots as well, though. I want to see how that chin holds up at light heavyweight. Does it look improved? So I'll go with Luke to win a decision here. And yeah, I'm hoping he looks really good, because I'd like to see a solid challenger for John Jones. So I'm hoping for a really impressive light heavyweight debut from Luke. Men's welterweight division next, we've got Ben Askren taking on Jorge Masvidal. I still don't really have a handle on Ben Askren. I said this before the Robbie Lawler fight. I don't know how good he is really. the Robbie Lawler fight doesn't really answer that question either. It was over very quick, very strange ending, controversial ending. He definitely showed he's tough, Ben. He took a real beating at the start of the fight and he survived it, and he came back, and then we have the controversial ending. So he's definitely a tough guy, and he's definitely got solid wrestling, but I just still don't really have a handle on how good he is or what his ceiling is. He's nearly 35 years of age, so he's come into the UFC really late. He's unbeaten, 19-0. He's got no striking. He's never going to have striking now. He's too old to adapt and turn into a solid striker. For me, he's too one-dimensional to really excel in modern day mixed martial arts. I think he is going to be found out. I don't know if it's going to be here because I just don't know how good he is, but I think I'm going to pick Masvidal here. Masvidal he's really going to want this. There's definite dislike from, I don't know if there's dislike from Askren's end. He's a bit of a wind-up merchant. He plays the game really well. Put himself into these big fights very quickly. I think he's got under Masvidal's skin, so Masvidal needs to be careful that he doesn't fight emotionally here. But the guy's a born fighter. I don't know if there's a more natural fighter in MMA. Very, very comfortable in the cage. It's just, can he keep this vertical? Because if he can, he'll light Ben up on the feet. There's a huge gulf standing. Can he stop the takedowns across the 3 rounds though? I'm not sure. I mean, we did see Darren Till take Masvidal down, but Masvidal probably wasn't expecting that, and he probably didn't even care. He's not worried about Darren Till being on top of him, and it was a 5-round fight. So maybe we don't need to read too much into that. He did lose to Damian Maia though. He made a few mistakes in that fight with Murray. He kind of engaged a little bit too much in the grappling when I think he should have been trying to disengage. Like, there was one point where he actually attempted a submission on Damian Maia that was only ever going to end one way. So, I can see Ben Askren employing his strategy, getting his wrestling going and grinding out a decision. Definitely do not expect a stoppage of Jorge. I mean, if you like Ben, I guess the money line isn't out of control. He's -235, but I just could not see him finishing Masvidal at all. And Askren by decision. It's an even money line, so you're getting 1.3 points discount. I mean, I never like kind of doing that. It's very rare that I'd suggest taking a prop over the money line. I just can't see Ben finishing Jorge. So if you are particularly keen on betting Ben, I'd definitely look at a decision line. Masvidal money line +195. For me, it's dog or pass situation. I mean, they are the same age. Jorge's had a lot more fights, but doesn't seem to be showing any wear or tear. He's extremely durable. I'm going to go with Masvidal here to win, if not a decision, to get Ben out of there. I'm just not going to say I'm not sold on Askren, but I just don't know what his ceiling is and how good he actually is. It's very hard for me to get a read on him still. He's got a tough fight here with Jorge, so I'm going to go with Jorge to do enough on the feet to win a decision here, stuff enough takedowns, and yeah, well, I mean, if Askren can't get him down, Masvidal will knock him out actually. So I'm going to go with Masvidal to win inside the distance here. I think there's a bit of value on his money line, but it's hard for me to kind of bet this fight either way because I just don't really know how good Askren is, so I am going pretty blind here, and I don't like betting unless I've got all the intangibles in place or I feel I've got a good read on exactly how a fight's going to play out. This is more a gut feel, so I'll go with Masvidal to win this fight. Benzo's got to go. He's not good enough to keep that O for me. He's too one-dimensional. He's nearly 35, welterweight division in the UFC. You've got to be well-rounded, and as good as his wrestling is, I don't think it's going to be enough for him, if not here, in the not too distant future. But I'm going to go with Masvidal. Co-main event, the women's bantamweight title, Amanda Nunes, Holly Holm. I mean, we've seen Holly in these spots before. She's done well for herself. She always tends to get the big fights, but she's always struggled when she's faced solid strikers. We saw her lose to Cyborg, who she gave a decent account of herself, but kind of a lot of her offence in that fight, if you can call it offence, was cage grinding Cyborg. We saw her loss to GDR, another very competent striker, and we saw her loss to Valentina Shevchenko, where she just got countered. So she struggled when she stepped up to this level against these really solid strikers, and Amanda Nunes is another one. She's a champ. She's got massive power for a lady, probably more power than anyone Holly Holm has fought in MMA. Holly has shown really good durability in MMA, has been knocked out in boxing. You can find it online. One of the most brutal knockouts you'll ever see. And, you know, there's just fights where she struggled, like the Betchko hair fight. I mean, arguably she was 2 rounds down before landing that head kick. Megan Anderson, she struggled on the feet with Megan Anderson. It sent Holly into complete wrestler mode, that fight. So it's just hard to imagine really how she's going to outstrike Amanda Nunes when you consider Holly's, you know, who's the best person she's won a decision over that's a striker? Probably Raquel Pennington, and that was a competitive fight. Holly's just, yeah, she's going to try and lead probably, and she's probably just going to get countered again. It just seems like rinse repeat on the 3 fights we've seen previously with Cyborg, GDR and Valentina, and she didn't like what Megan was dishing out on the feet either. She needs to hope Amanda Nunes gasses here. It's been a problem that's plagued Amanda throughout her career. She's got a sinus issue, so it seems like it's something that's pretty hard to fix, but she has been 5 rounds in 2 of her last 3 fights, and she beat Valentina Shevchenko. It was a very low volume affair, but Holly Holm isn't going to make a high-paced, high-volume fight. She's not the type, I don't think, that's going to make Amanda work hard and gas her out. And then she's stopped Raquel Pennington in the 5th round as well, so she seems to have learnt to pace herself better. I'm not going to say the cardio issue's fixed, because I think it's a physiological problem. She's got a sinus issue. I know before, when there was talk of her taking a late notice replacement fight in Vegas, she wasn't keen on doing it because of, I mean, I guess it's the kind of dry conditions in Vegas and the humidity perhaps. She needed time to adapt to it, so she is in Vegas for this UFC, but she's had plenty of notice, so it's just always in the back of my mind. It always makes me a little bit nervous with Amanda. It's just that cardio, but when you look at it rationally, unless Amanda goes out in round 1, balls to the wall and can't get the finish, I just can't see how she gasses here, because Holly Holm isn't going to bring the pace and pressure that could potentially tire her out. I think Amanda will get to fight at the pace that she wants, and I just think her counter game is going to be too hot for Holly. I think her power punches will be far more eye-catching than whatever Holly lands with her kind of tennis grunts. So yeah, I have to go with Amanda. Holly's getting up there in age as well, 37 years of age now. You've got to go with someone that's streaking like Amanda Nunes, so I'll go with Amanda Nunes, probably to win a decision. There's probably a little bit of value on the decision line. It was at about +275. Can now get it at, it's shot down a lot, +215 now, probably more accurate. But yeah, I just see Amanda being too much for Holly here and winning a clear decision. If not, you know, a stoppage wouldn't shock me. Holly's not been stopped in MMA. She's shown durability, but the kind of big shots are starting to add up. She's faced a lot of hard hitters for women fighters. GDR, Cyborg, and now Amanda Nunes. So damage may be accumulating. She had a, you know, good 30 plus fights in boxing as well, 37. She might be due a KO loss, but I'll go with Amanda Nunes to win a decision, but stoppage definitely wouldn't surprise me. Main event, we've got John Jones taking on Thiago Santos. the wild man Thiago gets his shot at the belt against the GOAT. Good to see John back in there again, fighting very regular. This will be his third fight in well under a year. Wow, it's going to be his third fight in about 8 months. So yeah, it's definitely nice to see John out there fighting regular. Yeah, I mean, I have to pick John Jones here. He's the greatest of all time. He's never lost. I can't see Thiago beating John, but he's got to give Thiago respect. The guy's looked improved up at light heavyweight. He definitely looks more durable, and the guy packs heat. The guy packs power. So yeah, John's got to be careful. He's got a wild man in front of him, and a wild man that seems a lot more durable at light heavyweight. And John isn't the biggest puncher in the world. I think his path of least resistance here is to take Thiago down and try and get that stoppage from top, because John is very, very good from top position. It's probably the easiest path for him here. So yeah, I mean, I don't fault anyone hitting Thiago by KO. I mean, when a money line is that high, he's like plus. Oh, money's coming on John. He's minus 650 now. He was sitting at around minus 500 last time I looked a couple of days ago. So plus 475. I mean, you've always got to take the money line, I think, if you want to bet Thiago or anyone in that situation. Just because freak things happen, club and subs happen in MMA. You know, you'd kick yourself if you didn't take such a high money line. What I'd recommend here, though, is let's just see what the KO line is for Santos. If you are looking to bet him, Santos there's not even much difference between the KO line, plus 600. Just take the money line, guys. If you want to have a punt at Thiago Santos for the sake of 1 point less, just take the money line. You never know what could happen in MMA. Shocking things happen with them 4-ounce gloves. So if you want to have a punt, take Thiago. I can't fault anyone in MMA, especially when it's a big puncher like Thiago, for having a punt at a big underdog line. But he's taken on the greatest here. John seems pretty hungry. He wants to establish himself as the greatest of all time. He wants that legacy. I think he'd do a number on Thiago. You know, round one might be a little bit dicey, but I just think John will take over this fight. I think he'll fight smart. He'll fight like he always does. And I think the whole hearsay here is, or the possible path of least resistance will be taking Thiago down and dishing out that ground and pound he's got. But yeah, I just think he'll wear Thiago down over the 5 rounds and perhaps get a late stoppage. I don't think it's crazy to think that Jones wins a decision here. I mean, we saw Anthony Smith go the distance with him in his last fight. Jones to win by decision is plus 380. Well, I think that's a decent punt there, to be honest with you. As I said, John isn't he's not a big puncher on the feet. I'd be surprised if he got rid of Santos standing. And if you are really, confident in John, the money line's too high to play, so perhaps a look at his decision line is worthy of consideration. But yeah, I'm not picking the upset here. I'm going to pick John to retain the title. I hope Luke Rockhold looks really good, as I said earlier, because I think that's an interesting fight. 2 of them facing off. But yeah, ultimately I'd like to see John move up to heavyweight and win the heavyweight title as well, or at least have a go at it. I think he's definitely good enough. So that wraps up this week, guys. Yeah, a lot of heavy favourites. I've tried to dig out a couple of dogs. I think the only dogs I picked in here were Masvidal and Thiago Sanchez. That could come back to bite me in the arse badly. Like I said, it's not a confident pick. I'm just doing it based on the price, and Diego's actually nearly at plus 300 now. So if Chiesa was minus 200, I'd probably pick him, and I'd probably bet him. But this is a betting podcast. We've got to look at value. I think there's value there on Thiago, because I think potentially he's going to get the fight he gets. But anyway, I'll be back next week for the next UFC. I'm currently breaking that down at the moment. We've got PFL next week as well. We've got the Dana White Contender Series. So really busy week next week. So good luck, everyone, especially you bettors. As I said before, serviceprommmabetting.com subscription packages are available on there. Come join the live betting team this weekend. Come join the pre-betting team. If you're £100 or 100 units, £100 or $100 per unit better, you're around £8,800 or dollars in profit this year already with us. We're halfway through the year now, so let's double that. I'm aiming for 20 grand profit for the £100 per dollar or unit betters. Was running slightly under that at the moment, but I mean, worst case, hopefully we double where we're at the moment, and it's just under 18,000. And if you ever look for an annual subscription with me, it's like $440, so massive bang for your buck. So yeah, good luck everyone, and I'll be back next week. If you want to reach out to me, you can hit the subscribe button, comment on the YouTube videos, drop me an email, send me a message on Twitter @ProMMABetting, and I'll be back next week. See you later.